I was embarrassed to see our prime minister treated like a human piñata.
Welcome back to Moose and Loose. Today we're talking about the woke CBC. They're going after Trump. They're blaming Trump for his assassination attempt. This is getting crazy. This is deplorable. Now, whether you like Trump or not, it doesn't matter. The fact that this is an attack on democracy, just because one side, one person in this case, didn't like Trump, doesn't give them the right to try to assassinate the guy. And the fact that CBC is backing this up is absolutely deplorable. Now, just a little recap for anyone who hasn't seen this footage. Basically, Trump's in Pennsylvania. He's giving his speech, and then there's a guy laying on a roof with a pew-pew and takes 8 shots.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look what happened.
So basically, they rush him out of there. They pick him up. They get him out, and he... So basically you can see the piece of metal went through his ear. What's really deplorable is that the CBC would then blame Trump for this. So we've got a couple different clips here. Some are on the live broadcast that people recorded their screen. A couple other segments they've uploaded.
All of this, of course, comes just 2 days ahead of the Republican National Convention, the nominating convention, where Trump will officially be made the Republican Party nominee. And that's effectively all we know at this point, other than bigger picture stuff, which is that this is, there he is being whisked off into the SUV with the fist raised. He raised his fist multiple times, we've seen on camera. This is the kind of thing that this country has been headed towards in its fiercely divided politics, the kind of rhetoric we've been hearing for the past number of years. In all fairness, a lot of it led by Donald Trump. There are many who would have thought it was only a matter of time before this kind of thing were to happen. And again, we don't know exactly.
I can't believe he just said that on live TV. That's deplorable. CBC, you should be ashamed for posting that. It doesn't matter if this were one side or the other, if it was Biden or if it was Trump. That's just disgraceful to say that on TV.
It's kind of an unreal moment, notwithstanding that what I was saying earlier, that given the nature of the political debate, if you want to be generous about it in this country, given the fierceness of the divide, the polarization of politics broadly, the rhetoric leading people down the path of violence, it would seem. Again, I think for many, it was a matter of when, not if. And here we are. This is that day that this has happened.
He said it again, rhetoric, when, not if. Man, that's unbelievable. This woke CBC, they're so woke. Do they not have any shame? They don't have any... Wow, I can't believe that. A guy was literally just pew-pewed in the head, and that's what they have to say. Oh, he had it coming to him.
Legislators attacked as well. The violence on January 6th. I think there is a feeling that political violence is on the rise, not only in America, but around the world as well. So that's something, I think, unfortunately, a lot of us were expecting. And just given the rhetoric, the rise in rhetoric, political rhetoric over this past year alone in this election cycle, I think a lot of us were looking at this and, this was a fear of ours and it's come true. I think there's definitely a need for, potentially a mediating voice here, someone to calm the nation. Now, I see on social media, there are Republicans and some Democrats saying now would be a good time for the president to address the nation, President Biden. We don't know whether that's...
So Biden already did address the nation. He basically just said, that it's absolutely terrible. This shouldn't happen. This is not how the country should operate, etc. But that clip there, she's basically blaming him for the rhetoric, the way he talks. It's not a justification to get assassinated. Next up, we got this clip here posted by Odessa that says, CBC News in Canada is still bashing Trump and his voters after an innocent man is dead. One of the bullets flew through and hit a guy in the head. And there's 2 other people critically injured as well. They also talked about the shooter having access to a pew-pew, partly due to Trump policies, even though CBC has no idea where the shooter got his pew-pew and how. Shameful CBC. Basically, the CBC reporter here just goes on the full-on attack on Trump while this is going on.
Well, Donald Trump, one thing we know, if history is any sort of guide here, is that when Donald Trump says something, we see his very aggressive supporters, his most dedicated base of support. They will repeat things verbatim, and they sort of get on board with that. I can give you a couple of examples from our time covering Donald Trump. You go to a rally and you sort of ask these Trump supporters, is there anything that Donald Trump has done that, concerns you or might get you to consider, you might not want to sort of support him anymore. You ask about, it was criminal charges before the conviction had taken place. You ask about the criminal charges, and Donald Trump supporters, I found at rallies and different events that he's speaking at, you'll hear the Trump supporters almost verbatim repeat back to you what Donald Trump has said about the issues. So when it comes to his criminal charges, his supporters will say things like, this is done by orchestrated Joe Biden. Joe Biden is weaponizing the system of justice against him. And this is an attack on Donald Trump because he's doing so well in the polls. Those kinds of things. And so what Donald Trump says at any time matters, but what Donald Trump is going to say in this moment may matter more than any other point in his time in politics, because clearly the temperature in this country, the situation is at a breaking point, and the tone he takes will be adopted by those who support him, as we have seen time after time after time.
We look at the comments here. CBC and all the paid propagandists working under Trudeau should be ashamed of who they've become. Canada's state media is disgraceful. Never believe a thing they say. Canadians can't wait to shut the embarrassing piece of CBC garbage down. My question is, who the heck would be watching CBC? CBC should be ashamed. Defund the CBC. So now, because of the internet, they've already identified the guy who was the shooter. This is him in his afterlife state, as the Secret Service put him down. But here's the guy here. His name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. Here's the second shot of him. So he's a 20-year-old guy, or he was a 20-year-old guy. It says here from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is about 40 miles south of the Butler rally. He's using an AR-15 up there. He climbed up onto the roof. A bunch of people pointed it out. And when he did take the first initial shot, Trump turned his head to look at a screen briefly. And because it was flying in like this and he turned, it went through his ear instead of right through his head. So that is an absolute stroke of just absolute luck. Now, Marty up north posted this picture. You can see it looks like a hole there. So it's likely he got hit in the ribs as well with the bulletproof vest. We've got this post here, posted by Brian Lilly. It says this person should no longer be able to teach at UBC Medical School. So Karen Pinder, damn, so close, too bad. This is disgraceful. Publicly stating you want the death of another human being is just so bad. And even the comment, damn it, so close, now he'll milk being a victim for more votes. I really wish the person had better aim. What a glorious day this could have been. Like, these comments are all disgusting. These lefties are like absolute nuts. Dr. Karen Pinder works for the UBC Medical School. So, somebody already dug it up. Here's her phone. Agree, fire her. Yeah, the people are angry in the comments here. She should never be allowed to practice again. She needs to lose her license for ethics violations. Horribly dark soul. That's just it. It's a dark soul. Now, for Canadians, what does this mean for Pierre Poilievre? I think he needs to step up his security, because you just don't know. Sure, people say, oh, this one crazy lefty guy that just went up there, he just tried to do his thing and he was acting solo. Maybe he wasn't acting solo. Maybe there's people behind the scenes who are, finding people to do these things for them, and they don't want to see North America flip from a left wing to a right wing. So Pierre Poilievre, I think he needs to get more security, because we need him. We need you, Pierre Poilievre. I think extra precautions here are going to need to be taken. Obviously, Donald Trump's going to have to put in some bulletproof glass or whatever whenever he speaks. In the case of Pierre Poilievre, we don't really have rallies here, but We do. They're just usually they're always indoors. In America, they like to do them outdoors. So the outdoor thing adds more variables, rooftops and stuff. So as long as you're screening people and you have ways to check if people are bringing anything in, metal detectors, whatever. I'm not sure what the security is like at a Pierre Poilievre rally, but maybe it's time to up the security because we need you, Pierre. With that said, we've got this clip here where he absolutely destroys a reporter and just shows why we all want him as our prime minister in Canada.
Your party hasn't actually said what your policy towards safe injection sites will be. So you want to close this one, but will you close others? What will you do around safe injection sites across the country?
I will be closing them. We will close safe injection sites next to schools, playgrounds, anywhere else that they endanger the public and take lives. We will defund. By the way, they're not safe injection sites. I'm sorry. I used your dishonest language. See, you just repeat the language that is fed to you by the government. Are you a CP? Are you a CP?
CP?
Who are you with?
Globe and Mail.
You're with the Globe and Mail. You guys repeat the same language you get from the liberal, the radical liberal NDP activists and bureaucracies. You call them safe. How can they be safe? You think it's safe when a bullet comes flying out of one of these sites to kill a mother in Toronto? Do you think that's safe? You think it's safe to have people using crack and heroin and cocaine next to a playground like this? You think that's safe? It's not safe.
Supervised injection sites.
They're drug dens. They're drug dens. And they've made everything worse. Everywhere they've been done, they've made everything worse. And I know what you'll do now. You'll now go and call the same bureaucrats who caused the chaos, and you'll call them experts. The people who caused the 400% increase in drug overdose deaths in Vancouver, you're going to call them experts. They are expert at destroying communities and ending lives, but at perpetuating their own industries, because that's what they are. They are industries that want to expand, and the only way they can continue to exist is by keeping the misery going. So they're not safe. They are unsafe injection sites. They are drug dens, and we oppose them. The Supreme Court has been very clear that these radical bureaucrats don't have the right to open these drug dens anywhere they want. The court made it clear that there are reasonable restrictions that can be placed on them, and that includes playgrounds.
So what will your policy be?
I've told you my policy. I'm against the drug dens next to children's playgrounds, schools, other places where people who are vulnerable in the community live. We will defund them. There will not be a single taxpayer dollar from the Poilievre government going to drug dens. Every single penny will go to treatment and recovery services to bring our loved ones home drug-free. Thank you.
Okay, merci.
Nice try.
Oh, so basically what he says as prime minister, you would close supervised injection sites.
Nice try. The Supreme Court didn't say that. See, I know what you're trying to do. The Supreme Court didn't. I'm giving you my answer. The Supreme Court did not say that there can be. It's okay. The Supreme Court didn't say that you can have a drug den wherever you want. It said that there are reasonable restrictions that can be placed to stop them from opening up in locations that endanger the community or where there is community opposition. That's what the Supreme Court actually said. Now, I know that wacko politicians and the Liberals and the NDP and their supporters in the media want to make it sound like there's a constitutional obligation that we allow these drug dens anywhere they want to go up. That is not true. That is the opposite of true. We have the power under Section 56.1 of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act to reject these drug dens and shut them down where they endanger the public, and that's what I will do.
I mean, here's a man who's ready to be prime minister. Common sense. He always says that, like, why do we have those, period, let alone next to playgrounds and schools and all that kind of stuff? When we have the majority of Canadians who want him as prime minister now, when you have what happened with Trump, there's a huge support in America too for the right wing down there as well. There's right wing support going all across many countries that have gone horribly woke and left with corrupt media like CBC. I mean, you've got a guy like Poilievre pushing back. It's time to up his security, because I just worry. When it comes to politics, whether it's Poilievre or Trump, the support usually lies not only with the party, but with the specific person who's in charge. If you took another Republican in America and just stuck that person in there, they wouldn't have that support that Trump does. And same thing with Poilievre. You took one of the, say, the conservative backbenchers and put them as the leader of the official opposition, they just wouldn't have the same sort of draw to the common people in Canada. And that's the problem you get when you have one of these people who climbs up onto the roof with a pew-pew. You can take away a lot of that power, a lot of that momentum. Crazy times going on in the world right now. As we inch closer and closer to the election next year, we got to keep Poilievre safe and get this man in power. Looking at the comments here, he's the best. Holy cow, so true. Made such a great point. We have to look out for these reporting wording. I've never thought about that. They call us safe house exactly that, a drug den. We always need to pay attention to their wording. I love how he deals with the media. Porters hate pushback. I love him. That was brilliant. Love that man. The people love Poilievre. There you have it. A real answer from a guy who will be prime minister in this country. Get some savings, do the spending. That's it. Trudeau just lives in a fantasy land where he can just make up new money and just cause massive inflation, and he doesn't care. He just sticks us with the bill. From the same press conference, we've got this clip here of Pierre Poilievre, where he refers to Justin Trudeau as a human pinata in regards to how he's traded on the world stage.
Just to go back to NATO for a moment, I'm wondering about your reaction to the fairly open criticism Canada came under this week, and whether you would feel pressure to meet that 2% target.
First of all, it's clear now Justin Trudeau is seen as an absolute joke on the world stage. He was I was embarrassed to see our Prime Minister treated like a human pinata by the rest of the NATO countries. They look upon him with total and complete ridicule. Canadians are tired of being embarrassed by a prime minister who prances around and preens, lectures the world without doing his part. Common sense conservatives will cut back on foreign aid to dictators, terrorists, and multinational bureaucracies. We will cut off back office bureaucracy in the Defense Department. We will end the botched procurement that has led to billions of dollars of waste, and we will put all of that money into rebuilding our forces and supporting the front lines of our soldiers, sailors, and airmen. I would add that when the previous Conservative government was in office, we weren't hearing these criticisms. Why? Because we were delivering. It wasn't because we were spending more. It's because we were delivering more. We were able to buy equipment off the shelf, quickly put it into theater, and pound for pound, do more to fight the Taliban in the most dangerous part of the world than almost any other country in NATO. And so the Americans and our other allies were very grateful that we were doing more than our part, regardless of what it financially cost the budget. Now, because Trudeau has wasted so much of the money we do spend, and even the money we are putting to work is being wasted, and we're not getting the results, and therefore our standing on the world is in decline. The other thing he's failed to do, that I will reverse, is use our resources as a geostrategic force. The Japanese, the Greeks, the Germans have all asked for our natural gas so they can break their dependence on Putin. Trudeau says there's no business case. The Americans have built 7 natural gas liquefaction facilities since Trudeau took office. The Qataris have doubled their production. The Germans built an import terminal in 150 days from concept to completion. Obviously, there's a business case. I will be exporting Canada's natural resources, particularly to break European dependence on Putin and turn dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people.
There you have it. The next Prime Minister of Canada, speaking like a leader, has a plan, a man of action. Justin Trudeau, everything he does just wastes money, just stupid decisions, and Pierre Poilievre just makes sense on everything. I think he's going to be great for our country. He's going to have a lot of work to fix up and clean up the mess that Justin Trudeau is leaving behind. I think he can do it. I think he's the man for the job. Look at the comments here. Doesn't sugarcoat anything. He's taking a common sense approach to finance. Trudeau and his merry band of thieves have been running the printing presses over time, committing money Canada simply doesn't have. Jumping over my group, let's see what memes we've got today. We've got a post here shared by Pierre Poilievre in my group here. It says, I condemn in the strongest of terms the attempted murder of former President Trump today. I'm relieved he is safe. My prayers are with the other innocent people harmed or killed by this heinous act. I'm also happy that the suspected shooter is dead. Democracy must prevail. Yeah, hell yeah. That shooter, at least, at the very least, that guy's gone. I stand by this message. I think this is the great words. Things are about to get very spicy. Yeah, exactly. We got to up the security here for Pierre, because who knows? I mean, it's clearly going to be a landslide victory for, the Conservatives, the right wing. Great. So now our so-called PM will double his security and cost us even more. Yeah, Trudeau already has the most security ever. He probably will double it even more. This is hilarious. The problem with our food system, yeah, except you can't buy this for $1, but yeah, that is the problem. We need to have fruit be real cheap. Finally, a house in my price range. We water our moose during heat waves. It's the most Canadian thing to do. That's amazing. Look at that moose. That's a good moose. Freeland acts more and more like Sourpuss. Did JT find a new playmate? Maybe he is tired of her twitching. Yeah. Freeland's on the edge here of getting kicked out. We'll see what happens. We got a clip here. This is going around. Justin Trudeau speaking at this NATO summit, but the room is empty. There's another angle too. Like the entire room is empty. We've got some international students protesting as usual.
Would you like to come on camera?
Thanks.
No? Okay then. This is a very odd protest. Usually everyone's champing at the bit to talk.
That's fine.
Okay. We got a lot of camera shy demonstrators here. Anyone want to talk? Explain your signs? How about you, ma'am? Extend work permit? Where would you be working right now, by the way?
This is very bizarre. None of them want to talk, but they want to fix the system to benefit them. Beggar King. If the government was a cup. What this country needs are more unemployed politicians. Honestly, I ride a broom to work now. I can afford it after canceling Disney Channel. She'll never live that one down. What are you doing this weekend? Me enjoying my rent? Well, that's where we're going to wrap up this episode. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the whole Trump situation. But then Poilievre, should we be upping security? Do you think anything will happen? Do you think we'll have any crazy people in Canada that will try to, go after Pierre Poilievre? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching the end of the video here. I greatly appreciate all of you. Be sure to subscribe and hit the thumbs up. We'll keep fighting for freedom. I'll see you guys in the next one.